we really don't have an audience. We truly have a community. I mean, well over 90% of our audience are in the eWomen Network community.
Yeah, I need to be prepared, but I can't over prepare, because if I come and I think I have to stay up and I have to practice and I have to rehearse, I'm not going to be my best the next day.
And that's not going there with a preconceived notion, I'm coming here to get a whole bunch of business.
Yeah.
I'm coming here to connect, to learn, to give, to share. And that permeates the whole thing.
Welcome to She Means Millions. I am here with the trifecta, and I was on Instagram Live this morning, and I asked, what questions would you want to ask for us? And of all people, Paula Onisco out of Canada.
Don't you love her?
Love her.
Calgary,
Canada.
She's great.
Premier success coach.
Past premier success coach, yes.
Yes, and just a rock star. She asked a really great question that I thought was a perfect episode to bring to the table.
What's that?
Well, we're almost here at ICON, our annual conference, and she was curious if we would peel back the curtain on the preparation process. But more specifically, she said the content preparation, the logistics preparation, and I think she saved the best for last, and that is the inner preparation, the inner work going into this event. And that's a piece that I've never heard anybody talk about.
Right.
And so I thought that this would be a really great opportunity for us to do that, because we all kind of have a different process going into the event. And this year in particular, with our theme being Fuel the Fire, I thought, how interesting of a question, because you can't pour fuel on the fire if you're not fueled yourself.
Right.
So we really
You have to have the spark.
You have to have the spark first.
Yeah.
And so, let's talk a little bit about that. And going into conference, there is the logistical piece, right? We've been planning for this all year long.
Yeah, 11 months. Basically, that we plan. We come back out of conference, and that next 30 days is just a lot of just buttoning down everything that happened and welcoming, all of our, new clients. And we send out a survey, getting data from all of our attendees about what they thought, what they loved.
Yeah. And we also asked all of our team to do what we call
SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis, where everybody talks about, it's different than the SWOT analysis that most corporate people have been trained on.
Yeah.
So that's really where we shine.
Yep.
The SPOT, the S, and then the problems, meaning the things that we experience as issues on the back end that nobody really saw.
But creates churn and anxiety and frustration and
stress and all of the energy that you don't want your team to be carrying during an event. And then the opportunities, the O, how could we improve or do things better? And then the threats, meaning these are the problems that the attendees did experience, and
we never want them to see them again.
We never want them to see those again. And every single person on the team does that. And it's really amazing because everybody has a distinct role.
Yes.
And so everybody's SPOT analysis always looks a little bit different because they have their different perspectives and vantage points of how they experienced the conference based off of the department or the role that they were playing there.
Right.
So we always do that after the event so that we can improve internally and then take the feedback of the attendees from their surveys, and we take that into account. And every single year we try to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
And I think that we do.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we even have data sometimes on, maybe improvements they wanted to see with the hotel. And then we negotiate those things with the hotel in order for us to come here or come back here. These are some of the improvement things that we need to see.
Yeah.
Yep. And we put them in our contract.
Yeah, that's why those meetings we have with them, pre, and you said as post, because they play a pivotal role in the experience.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So it's 11 months. Takes 11 months for us to gather all that information, do our own, what we call plan, do, review. We plan it, then we execute it, and then we spend 30 days just on reviewing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, we're into planning the next year.
Yeah.
So, and then it really cranks up 4 months before. Starting 4 months, we have a weekly, for us it's on a Monday, scheduled from 3 to 5, what we call RASI meeting, RASI. And we literally chart every single deliverable that needs to be done pre, during, and post the conference. And then we set dates, delivery dates that they need to be complete. And then we do our RASI. And the R in RASI stands for the person responsible. So there has to be an owner, one owner per line item. When you have multiple R's, then there's a lot of chances for people to assume the other person has it and that kind of thing. And so it's a language here. We always say, who's the R on that?
Yeah.
So if we have a question about a deliverable and we want to know where it stands, we always say, who's got the R?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And the A stands for approval, which is basically veto power. So there are things that might be getting done that either you, Brianna.
I just want to have my hand in. I want to say, yep, that looks good, or nope, try again.
Right, exactly. And same thing with you, Kim,
Yeah.
or even me. So sometimes the person that's the R responsible also has the A approval power, but sometimes not. There could be somebody that's responsible for making sure it happens, but needs to get the approval from someone else. And then the S stands for support. So who are the supporting people? And a lot of times we have multiple S's. We usually have one R, one A, multiple S's because things go through
different portals of support. Yeah. So like a real life example would be, we, for the production, have the LED backgrounds on the stage. We do a huge LED screen behind us. What is it, like 30 by 40?
No, not quite that big. Yeah, that's big.
It's big. It's huge.
25 feet by something.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Huge. And so, I might be the responsible for seeing that, or no, I'm the approval. I'm the A. I approve it. And then the R is the, graphic designer, but I'm the A and the R, actually.
I think you are.
I'm the A and the R. I am responsible for seeing that it gets done, and I'm the final approval of it, right? But then I also have the support, which is the graphic designer, and I also have the production team because I need the file types and the file sizes that they need, right? And then there's all these, and then the people that need to be informed are like you, Kim, because you want to know that it's getting done. You also want to be looped in and make sure it looks good. We work and collaborate together. You're kind of a co-A, if you will, on the overall look and design.
It's funny, we talk about this, but one of the big things with that screen is how slow it needs to move. People, you don't even think about that.
Yeah.
They think about, the effect that you want to have. And why it's so important that it moves so very slow.
So it's not distracting.
Quick, so it's not distracting.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I might be an I. I'm just curious. I just want to see how it all looks at the end.
Yeah.
I can opt out of that. But if I opt out of being an I, then I can't say, nobody ever talks to me about this. I wish I would have seen it. I would have loved to have known what it looked like.
Yeah. That's
because
the informed.
Yeah, that's the informed. So if you want to know, you can just say, I just want to be informed on it. And if you opt not to, that's okay. But then you can't complain that you didn't know.
And now everybody knows their role, what they're responsible for, and who needs to be CC'd. Like, not be CC'd, but who needs to be CC'd
Exactly.
so that they can be informed about what's going on, you know? And so, it's a really powerful system.
And I think it's would you say it's between 500 and 600 line items.
It's gotten to be so lengthy, y'all.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
And we go through it every, it's very expensive to run these because every single staff member needs to be on it. And I know I'm aware of the fact that I'm paying everybody their salaries to be on this call. And there's sometimes people will be like, gosh, I'm done with my part, but you need to be on it just because I think it's important for everybody to be aware of where everybody is. And because we have, you'll see flurries of things that need to be done in deadlines 2 months before, right? Like the speaker that, we're going to have, any kind of details 1 month before, which is when, a lot of the final food menus are selected and the layouts have to be approved by the fire marshal for the exhibit hall and all of that. And then a couple of weeks before, when we're working on all of the voice of God, the audios, others, the introductions, the obtaining, making sure we're getting everybody's walk-on music, all of that kind of thing done, right? And then, the week before, and of course we move the team in about the week before. It should be showtime. But the good news is as things get finished, they get marked finished, they get turned green to finish. And everybody loves to say, mark it finished. And so we start, as we get closer to the conference, we move a lot faster because more and more things are finished and we're just zeroing in on, the final things. And then we come back right after the conference and continue with the meetings because now we've got all the post-conference deliverables.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of moving pieces, especially when you think about the managing director training beforehand. I mean, a lot of people are not aware that while the conference is a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right, that managing directors from around the country, all over the world, really, are there a couple of days prior to that.
They fly in on Sunday, and they're in training Monday and Tuesday. We have a State of the Union with them on
and that's a whole community
Monday.
of itself,
2 days of training, whole design, layouts. Then we have the awards ceremony with them on Tuesday night. And then, Wednesday, it really starts kicking in with full day. And then we have the platinum reception, on Wednesday night. You have the emerging leader dinner.
There's
before
a
the
lot of
platinum.
logistics and moving parts.
Yeah. Each one of those have basically show cards for however I get a 3x5 card every single day on key things that are happening that are highlighted where I need to be so that I have a daily just kind of quick reference of what's happening where I need to be.
Yeah, that first day of the actual conference, which is the Wednesday, the 12th, is electrifying.
Yeah.
It is so action packed. I love the format of it. I mean,
Can I just say I signed off on the stage for it this year, and it looks like we've 10x. Like it's an up level. It's
really?
so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're doing.
I've not seen it yet.
No, you weren't, and I.
I love that. Now you're really curious.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah. And we're putting a stage in the platinum reception now because the platinum membership has gotten so big, and we've got some fun things that we're doing in there. And we're serving coffee in the Platinum and Pinnacle Lounge, every morning.
I know where you'll find me every morning.
Exactly. So, it's a massive project, and it's expensive to run just from a staff admin time, let alone what happens for load in.
Yeah.
And then a moving truck, people don't even realize. I think it's close to 600 boxes, somebody told me, of stuff that needs to be
furniture, signage. We have our own storage basically unit here on site at the corporate office.
Yeah.
So most of that gets taken out to go to the event. And it's interesting because this year it won't be going back to the same place because we're moving. So we're going to bring it back to the new storage space that we've taken over. But
because if the conference wasn't enough, we're going to come back on Monday, and we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for all the final things to get back moved in. And of course, the truck doesn't even typically come in sometimes until Sunday or Monday. To unload and get back in, but we're literally we're literally dismantling, and I'm starting to get a little bit emotional about all of that too. Getting in touch with the fact that, Kim, we've been here for 22, 23 years.
Longer than that, isn't it?
On this building. I think maybe.
Think about this. When we started eWomenNetwork, the first year.
Maybe 18 months we were here. We sublet from Mutual of Omaha and then took the space when they moved out. And then there was a medical facility next to us. And then when they moved out, we crashed through the doors and expanded. And then there was an architectural firm. And then
we're squirreling.
Are we? We're going. But point of the matter is, we are now moving to the new space on that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I'm noticing that we're kind of building a RASI chart, Kimberly, my EA, and I, as we think about
what needs to
all the
happen.
logistics. A
Moving
lot of that needs to be
computers, servers, everything.
right.
Craziness. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into the planning, and I think that we're really excellent at that between the RASI, the spot analysis. But there's one piece to this that I don't think that is talked about enough, and that is, when in the midst of doing all this, particularly with the extra things that we have on our plate, like the move, while we're planning the conference and making it a bigger and better experience, and we just relaunched technology. There's like also managing your sanity.
Yeah.
And how you handle the stress. And it's so funny because I've noticed something about myself. So one thing that most people probably don't know about me is I get eczema breakouts, specifically
your ears
in and around my ears, which is the most random thing. I don't know a single other person that has ear eczema. Have you ever even heard
First
of
of all,
it?
I didn't know that either.
Oh, really?
And I'm your daddy.
It's because mommy always took care of it.
I would have lost that bonus question. I'll tell you what.
But you know what's crazy is it only flares out when I'm stressed. And what I've learned about myself is I've learned to carry stress really well. So I don't necessarily feel stressed, but my body tells me that I'm stressed because my ear eczema starts to get irritated. I have my little ointment and all the little things that I do to help with it. But it's actually this ear, not this ear. I get it in one ear, not both ears. One ear breaks out eczema. And I know, okay, my stress is heightened because my ear eczema is annoying me, and it gets itchy and dry, and it's just a whole thing. So I've learned to listen when my ear gets angry. Like, okay, you need to take a pause.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, take a step back, and do some breath work or something to just kind of like ground yourself, because my body, that's my little check engine light letting me know, okay, you're getting ready to run into an issue if you don't address this. And so, yeah. And I'm grateful for that little ear eczema because it is my little compass, my energy compass.
Yeah.
When I need to like take a beat.
And I start craving an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Every night, don't I? You take me for my little ice cream cone trip every night.
Yeah, ice cream. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, ice cream and
In and out.
And that little private affair you have with Amazon.
Oh.
You said that.
Yeah, they come alive.
Yeah. Yeah, some people scroll social media. Some people scroll Amazon.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I have a little granddaughter that's getting ready to have a 6th birthday. I mean, there's just lots of things to shop for.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
kinds of party supplies.
When you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. We all handle our stress a little bit differently.
You mentioned that, and I think about how the members define the conference for themselves. I told someone, and I don't know if this is going to stick or not, but the whole notion of, what is this? What is this whole experience? And I tell you, to me, it is like the combination of the family reunion, but it's the business reunion of all the different, businesses and how they all interact. I've never seen, with all the preparation, with all the things that we do, there is a cadence to what they do in terms of the meetings that they create. There's an energy and a vibe. I don't know how to define it. Do you?
We haven't talked about this, but I have some thoughts around all of that because, we do have close to 70% of our attendees sign up for the next year's conference before they leave, which if you know anything about the events business, it's really unheard of to get people to commit a year in advance to come. And I've really thought about this a lot this last year, and we really don't have an audience. We truly have a community. I mean, well over 90% of our audience are in the eWomenNetwork community.
Yeah.
They are members, right? And that's why it has the energy that it has, because they are people who are aligned already with our values. It's hard to show values to an audience of people that have come from a bunch of ads and different spaces and places and that kind of thing, and are just dropping in, and they're not in relationship with you. And I think our audience is unique in that. In fact, I'm trying to think of any other event you know what I mean, that that comes to top of mind, that has that embedded kind of community that's very clear on its mission, very aligned with the values of how we are going to be with each other. I mean, I think what shocks first timers is that they can meet people they don't know, and there's just this sense of everybody walking up and saying, "Tell me about you," and then using our 5 favorite words. How can I help you?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're drowning in your business? Like you're doing everything and something has to give, but you're afraid it might be you? What if I told you there's a network of over 500,000 women entrepreneurs, all dedicated to supporting each other? A network of women helping women. I'm Sandra Yancey, founder of eWomenNetwork, and I'm inviting you to join us and become a member. eWomenNetwork.com. We can't wait to meet you.
Well, think about this, Sandra. The majority coming in on that Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. Because the conference kicks off. I mean, the teaching, learnings, and all that. The first program begins at 9 o'clock in the morning on that Wednesday.
Yeah.
And, you meet somebody on that Wednesday. Then, that evening you see them again. The next, you see them the next day. I mean, relationships are being formed, like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, think about the people who've told us that they have actually, in one weekend at eWomenNetwork at the conference, they've done all the business they need to do for the year.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that for a second, that they could have never imagined. I've seen people, they're in a place of glee.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get over how much business. And that's not going there with a preconceived notion, I'm coming here to get a whole bunch of business.
Yeah.
Is I'm coming here to connect, to learn, to give, to share. And that permeates the whole thing.
Well, when everybody's doing it, there's this energy of reciprocity because everybody's looking to look out for everyone.
Yeah.
It's rare. Most events are, what can I get for me?
I think we do a really good job of setting the stage for that, though, too. I mean, yes, most of the people that come are involved in the community, so they know the culture, but there are also people that aren't as familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they just became members, but they don't really know, and it's really their first experience with you, myself, and Kim.
The
just
trifecta.
that leadership
Right.
level, right?
Yeah.
To really see, because everything hinges off of the leadership.
Yeah.
If you don't have a solid leader, your culture is going to reflect that. And so, you kick it off, you do your own kind of state of the union.
Yes.
And you really set the stage and you set the energy, and that energy just, it is magic. It really is magic. And it's hard to explain to somebody who has never experienced it. You just have to be there. And I can say that with confidence because I go to so many conferences because I'm a student. I
Yep.
love learning. I love going to other conferences, and they're great. No doubt about it. But there is definitely, and I know I'm biased, but there really truly is something special about it.
Yeah.
And if you notice, I particularly have been paying attention to what I see in social media here leading up to the conference, and the proliferation of people saying, we can get you, 10 million views. And I've noticed this whole, what I call this view culture, where people are saying, let me help you get, thousands and thousands of people to view you. But pay attention to what word they're not talking about. They're talking about views. They're not talking about clients, relationships. They're talking about numbers.
Yeah.
And they're flat and they're empty. And anyone that's been in it realizes, hey, listen, having thousands of views means nothing. I didn't sell one
the
book.
wrong kinds of views too. I mean, I've had a post go viral, and my intention was to talk to the ladies, and I had a army of men commenting with their keyboard warrior mindset. I'm like, I wasn't talking to you, bro. So views don't necessarily, they're not really truly what you want at the end of the day. What you want is an aligned audience.
Well, think about, the video that went viral with us with decisions, right?
Right.
Millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
I think it was over 11 million, wasn't it?
I think so.
That was a while ago. I mean, but no. But not one person has said, "Oh, I bought a ticket to your conference because I saw your decisions."
Right. No, it's true.
It's a cute video. It's fun to watch. It gives you a great laugh. I think about the people that I laugh at. Or we exchange. Oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And you see all this stuff, And do what with it?
Yeah, but also, listen, okay.
Okay, here we go. I was waiting for this. I'm like,
don't hate on the views either.
No, I'm not hating on it.
Because we do live in an economy where the follower count matters, right? So if you are able to garnish a ton of views that then lead to followers, now you have the growing following. Think about it, like a realtor, for example. Are you going to book the realtor that has no social media presence or the one that is an on and poppin'? I mean, I think about my realtor. She sold my house in a weekend based off of a TikTok video.
Yeah.
She sold it from the TikTok video from a person who saw the house on TikTok and didn't even see it in person.
Right.
And they bought it cash.
Yeah.
$60,000 over asking.
Yeah.
That at the time that was like a $640,000 house, $640,000 sale from TikTok video, bro.
Yeah.
So, no, you're right. Views don't automatically mean clients, but they are definitely a lever.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lever, and it's also an important one in the trust recession that we live in. But I think what you're trying to say though is that views don't necessarily mean community. An audience and a community are two different things.
And trust. I mean, I'm just saying at the end of the day, I will take a relationship any day over a view.
Yeah.
Any day. And I understand, and I totally get it. And I think it's a really good example that you use with your realtor and plugged in and tapping the audience and knowing where to put that communication. But I will tell you, to this day, the only thing that I've ever seen move anything in a massive way is that relationship.
No kidding. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, you get a stopped up toilet. There's nothing more important than that relationship you have with the plumber.
I can't even believe you said that.
You would call that woman on a Friday night. Hey, listen.
Wait a minute here. Like, where are we going with this? Like,
well, he wasn't talking about your toilet.
Keep up here.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about energy for a second, because we've talked about logistics, we've talked about the energy of the conference, but how about our energy? Because pulling this off demands a lot, not only of us, but our entire team. Yeah. And I know for me, we kind of talked about it. We touched on it in another episode, but you know, there is a level of hustle that you have to tap into to pull off this lift. Yeah. I mean, we have a massive team. I think there's over 50 people that we acknowledge for contributing to pulling off the conference of this size. But on site, I mean, we're maybe 30 people on site.
Yeah, 35.
35, right?
Some of our team doesn't come to the conference.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for us, particularly because we're on stage, we're delivering content. So there's all of the back end preparation that goes, but then there's the energy that we bring to the stage where we really lay it all out there, where we're really pouring our hearts out to serve this audience.
And can I just say, shout out to the team members that don't come to the conference, because many of them are the ones that are keeping the business going while we're there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've got thousands and thousands of members that are not coming to the conference, that for them, you know, it's
just another day.
It's just another day. And so we have to be able to service them while the rest, but majority of us by far are at the conference, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, I have a whole load-in list. I mean, I literally bring my own coffee pot because I like my coffee, and I like a certain kind of cream. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm a real sugar, and I don't want to be tearing up those little things. And I'm up before 6, which is often when the room service starts. So I want my coffee, you know, when I'm up. And because, as you know, makeup and hair show up at 5-something in the morning often. And if not, I'm getting ready before they come, kind of thing. And then I have my blueberries and my yogurt and the things that I need to fuel myself, to keep me kind of going, and to have my snacks behind stage, so that when you're up, I'm back there and I'm keeping myself fueled, you know, in a very healthy way. I am not eating junk food during the conference. We did do a sneak away. We were at one hotel years ago, and across the street was In-N-Out, and we snuck out the back the back way and went across the street to In-N-Out one time. But that's the exception.
That was a stress release too,
That
wasn't
was,
it?
yeah, we were like,
I remember that's your little thing. And so before I was on the team
oh yeah,
and I was digital marketing and I would run the social media during the event, and I had a team that was working with me that year. And I remember you were feeling stressed, so we actually left. We went to In-N-Out and picked you up your order and brought it to you and surprised you.
Yeah.
It was a moment.
It was so fun when you all walked in the room with bags of In-N-Out.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
But
yeah. But that's the exception. I mean, for the most part. And that was like right before we get going kind of thing. But once it's showtime, we are fueling ourselves the right way.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. It's going to be interesting this year because I've never even thought about working out, but I'm going to see if I can manage my energy and be prepared enough to bring my workout clothes and actually maybe try to see what the fitness center looks like this year. I don't even know what it looks like because I've never seen it because I'm just so in event mode.
Yeah.
But this year has called for a different version of me. And I know that when I do start my day with that endorphin rush, it does carry my energy through the day.
Science backs it too. That, I mean, there are doctors who prescribe exercise, working out 20 minutes, 10, whatever it is, even instead of a Prozac pill. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
The effect of it.
I have my bands, I have my P-Touch, I have my, and I still often don't get to them, to be totally honest with you. But I'll do my squats in the shower.
I mean, it is an all encompassing 4 days for us. I mean, because it's not just coming prepared with our content. It's also like, I can't even think of like the little things like, did you remember that we're supposed to acknowledge this person on the stage? Oh, let's get that in the run of show. Oh, do we need a slide for them? It's like little last minute things like that pop up, or, oh man, we didn't, as prepared as you try to be, you could forget, oh, we have this sponsor giveaway. Did you put that giveaway in the run of show? Okay, we need to make sure we have a note card for that so that we can mention the giveaway. Where are we going to plan that into the run of show for today? How are we going to, and so there's just always, no matter how prepared you are, there are little things that get thrown at you that can throw you off of your game. And
my room looks like a NASA center, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's got
monitors,
4 monitors, my 2 monitors, Kimberly's 2 monitors. Of course, we're in the presidential suite. She's in the adjoining room so that, we can walk back and forth. Kim often doesn't even sleep in that room. He'll sleep in another hotel room because Kimberly and I will be up in our, robes.
I work in my presentation too. And I just,
just a lot of movement.
Yeah.
So he'll get a hotel room, but we'll be there the night because it has a wonderful living room to do our plan, do review. What went well, what didn't go well, did we? And that's when things will come up, and then we'll run to the computers and adjust the run of show and print a new card and so we have printers in there, 4 monitors, it looks like a NASA center in the presidential suite. It's crazy how it looks. Stuff just happens. As much as you plan, there are little things that happen.
And just even rehearsing and just being so grounded and knowing that you know your stuff. I've had to learn, there's a difference between preparing and over preparing. And I've had to learn, particularly since my brain injury, that I need to be prepared, but I can't over prepare, because if I come and I think I have to stay up and I have to practice and I have to rehearse, I'm not going to be my best the next day. And so for me, there's a balance between coming, knowing that you know your stuff, being grounded and trusting in that, and trusting that you're going to, if you're speaking from your heart and you've done your homework ahead of time, you're going to do your best on the stage if you just freaking go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you sleep like me, you prepare in your sleep.
Yeah.
I feel like I close my eyes and I'm walking through it.
Yeah.
I'm ginked up.
I would be so interested for you to have like an aura ring or something, because those, what's been interesting for me this year with my Hell Kick is this tracks my sleep. But what it does is it doesn't just say, oh, you were asleep from this time to this time. It tracks my REM sleep, my deep sleep, my awake windows. And so you can see how good the sleep quality that you're getting. I'd be fascinated to read your sleep data.
Yeah.
Just because for me, there's a direct correlation between when I get good sleep and when I perform.
Yeah. Do you have a guilty pleasure? Do you have a little munchy thing that you have in your room?
You're a munchy girl. You have a bunch of them. Popcorn, Twizzlers.
Yep.
Those are always in there.
And a little bit of chocolate.
And a little bit of chocolate.
I don't ever have to worry about it because you got it covered.
Yeah. I know.
Where's your
Like,
snack?
I went and munched
Where's your
him
stash,
to
Sandra?
mom's
Where's your stash?
and I'm gonna mooch off of her popcorn stash.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't know. I mean, yeah. When I'm in the room, I try to always bring my like yogurt or a protein drink for breakfast. I find that I like a protein drink of some kind for breakfast. This past year, I got into protein coffee, so I'm definitely gonna pack that with my almond milk so I can make my protein coffee in the morning so that I get my protein and my caffeine in one so that I can kick off the day. But I think that starting the day with protein is so critical for me, just cognitively.
Yeah.
I always have my supplements. I'm really not a munchy, snacky girl though. And then when I do, I always regret it. I'm like, you know who I know has them?
Me.
Mom. You know?
I am. When it's late, I like to. I don't have a lot of it. Maybe a cup of popcorn or.
Yeah. You're good at moderation. That's why you look the way that you do. Because if I had that in my room, it'd all be gone.
Yeah.
It would all be gone.
I let myself eat everything. I just don't eat everything of it. I just.
Yeah, you can have a spoonful. See, that's the problem. You can have a spoonful of dessert. Should we get a dessert? No, because you're going to eat a spoonful and then I'll have the rest of it. 'Cause I don't have that.
Exactly.
I will eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a self-control issue. I've learned that about myself. So I just don't want to have it around.
It's a self-control issue. There's no doubt about it.
I think I got that gene from you.
You probably did.
Yeah.
You probably did.
Oh,
I think I was
last night. He was like, "You want to go to what is it?
Pinkberry.
Pinkberry. I want to go to Pinkberry. He loves Pinkberry. When I go to Pinkberry, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so we go. So I get the mini. You know what the mini? It's like this. It's teeny tiny. It's like 3 ounces, maybe not even that. 2.3 ounces, something. And he gets the small, which is 7 ounces, 8 ounces of it. And we're sitting outside, and he finishes, and I've got 3/4 of mine to go. And he goes, "Are you going to eat that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm done." And he goes, "Here. Can I have it?" And he reaches over and he takes it, eats mine.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would honestly probably be doing the same.
Yeah.
It's an issue. So I just don't have that stuff around me because I know myself.
Yeah. I made Rice Krispie treats last week.
I said, you need to take at least half of this pan with you. You cannot leave this whole pan in my house, Mother, because I will eat it.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
So you did.
I did.
Thank God.
I took half of it.
And it didn't even make it to the office.
No, I kept
because
it.
he ate it. Thank you.
For
taking one for the team.
Yep. I know. Yeah.
But I love those sweets with my coffee. That is a you thing. I got that from you.
Because
Oh my
when
God.
when I was training for my first little sprint triathlon, my coach said to me, says, "I'll deny this if you ever attributed this to me, Sandra, but if you want something sweet, the time to do it is in the morning." Kind of like that whole coffee cake idea. So, if I'm going to have a sweet, I'm more likely, as you know, to have it in the morning with my coffee. And then, I've got all day to burn it off or to say, okay, I really went over the top. I've got all day. I'm going to do a little extra 10-minute walk or, 10 extra squats or go to the gym or whatever it is, or be careful later not to do anything to add on to it. So I tend to have my sweets with my coffee in the morning.
Yeah. I like them breakfast, lunch, and dinner and midnight snacks. I love my sweets. I'm a sweet tooth, but I do love salty too, but I do gravitate towards my sweets.
Yeah, and I'm way more salty girl. But when I have my sweets, I have them in the morning.
Yeah.
My.
Yeah. And you're definitely a sweet tooth.
Yeah. I've got a sweet tooth.
How do you prepare for the conference? What's your ritual?
Well, I have to surround myself with mental stimulus. So I'm listening to music. I really focus on how can I bring something that they've never ever heard before, or a point of view or perspective they've never heard before. And music helps me get to that place because of the power of the beat, the groove. Emotionally, I can't think of anything that grounds me faster than a melody. So I will lock myself away. I'll start. I'll do some practice runs in my home office. Where I'm just talking and that kind of thing. But it's a combination of all of it, the practice, um, my own discoveries, things that I look and I notice, that that uh, that hit me, and I start to format it that way.
I do notice that you have different types of music that you listen to for maybe different ways in which you're handling whether the speed that's going on in your brain or a sense of calming or whatever, but you'll listen to smooth jazz, and then other times it'll be more the oldies, if you will, from, your band days and all the guys that you knew, or it might be just what's popping now, whatever it might be.
Yeah, but I definitely I get in a mode of, I mean, like, I tell people all the time, your repetition is your reputation. It's like what you do over and over again. And so, right now, th- there's always been this river of sameness for people. I don't care in marketing. My thing is all around branding and marketing. But how do you spin yourself out of that batch? How do you separate yourself in a way that is, not only authentic, which happens to be one of those overused words too, authentic. Everybody talks about being authentic and clear, Of course. Yeah, absolutely. But how do you deliver a message that will stick, that stays with people, that they can apply? And you don't need a lot of them. I'll start with one, if you walk away with two, you hit the jackpot. You know what I mean? Of just strategies that you'll say, I will apply this to my life.
Yeah.
I'll pull this into it,
Yeah.
But it's the summation of everything.
Yeah, everybody loves the top 10. But my whole thing is, once you have the top 10, to your point, what's the one or two you're going to take action on?
Yeah.
To get going. Because I think it's so easy to have all this information and then feel stuck.
Yeah, overwhelmed, and analysis paralysis, and figuring out where to go from here. It's interesting. One thing I want to address too, though, before we wrap up, is the different styles of our performance natures. So, you're very prepared. You are famous internally for your 11th hour brilliance. And I remember one year having to kind of call out the team because they were giving you a hard time for your 11th hour. Oh, this video would be great. Can we get this video? Kind of a thing. And first of all I gotta say is thank God there's only one of those, because you could have triple the trouble, but you only have one to deal with. So that's okay. But there is, I think, some beauty in that nature. And then you're completely the opposite.
Completely.
And it's
I
fascinating.
have the binder, I have the cards, I have the, one-page rundown. I've got
tabs on everything.
PowerPoints, the iteration after iteration of practice. I am.
And that's completely not your style. And yet you two are the most beautiful couple that I have ever witnessed in your love for each other, even though you're complete polar opposites. It's wild to watch and to witness. And I don't know where I fall in that mix, because I think I've become more of a preparer, particularly since my injury. Like I used to fancy myself more of a wing it kind of a girl. And I am certainly not that.
But you'd been going in that direction.
I had.
Even before your health scare, but even more so now for sure. And you also have 2 children. And I mean, there's just a lot now to be thinking about and organizing. I think some of that comes with motherhood. Some of it comes with the need, from your incident. And some of it just comes from sanity. I can wing it. I just don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
It's not like I can't wing it. I've been in many situations that I've had to wing, and people have said, that's some of your best work. And I'm like, but it's not my happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think of it as winging it as much as I am. My antenna is always open.
Yeah.
And
you're open to a spark of an idea.
Yeah.
I'm open to a spark of an idea, or a road that I was going to. I've been in a situation where I went down this road, and it just didn't sit with me. I mean, I thought it did, but then the next day I felt differently, and I had to change everything. Change everything because the message.
I used to get really frustrated about your last minute changes, and what I've learned after 48 years and being in business together 25, what I've learned is Some of those 11th hour changes, I've just had to admit, for as much as it drives me crazy or I don't want to do it, or I'm like, we should be closed on this by now, they are sometimes some of your best. And I've had to learn to really honor that, and just like, you can't get mad at somebody who's got a brilliant idea at the 11th hour. You just can't.
Well, I think too, if you happen to be working with a team and you get, the rolling eyes or something like that, it's completely different when you are driving a creative experience. You know what I mean? I'm just saying with all the creatives that I know, when they're driving a creative experience, different things will stimulate their approach to something. And you just have to make sure your team knows,
Yeah.
this is how I work best,
Yeah.
It's not to create drama, but
Yeah.
but it is game time. We are in our, this is the countdown to our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sandra, and you say this, and I love it, and I use it. I use myself, and that is when it's time for the conference to kick off, it's showtime.
Yeah.
And not showtime from the standpoint of, oh, I'm going to show out.
No.
It's showtime from the standpoint of, I'm ready to amp myself up.
Yeah. Lock in.
I want to lock in.
Be
It's
fully
showtime.
present.
Let's go.
Be nowhere else but where my feet are.
Amen. Because she does not just mean business.
Yeah.
She means millions.
And millions.
And millions.
And millions.
And millions.